Tiwa Savage's sex tape, Adele's new song, and Nicki Minaj just making a fool out of herself. We're going to talk about it today. Today we have Ronse. Do I say the founder, the CEO? What do I say?
All of that.
Founder, CEO of No Hipsters podcast. You know, it is a bustling podcast. He's talking about a lot of like hot topics, as well as you guys have an Instagram as well.
Yeah.
All about hot topics. And today he's going to tell me some of the trending stories that are happening in entertainment. Let us begin. What's the tea? Let's talk.
Well, the first big story is Adele and her new song that dropped on the 15th.
Hit, smash song.
Okay.
Smash. Okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Great gowns, beautiful gowns. But really, the song is called Easy on Me. It's a good song. I like it. It's actually set a record on Spotify for the most streams in a single day. So it broke the record that BTS set back in May. So it's a good song.
And on YouTube had 41 million views in the first 24 hours on YouTube.
41.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll flag that one. But yeah, because I remember, okay, that's possible.
I saw it. I literally saw it 24 hours after. Yeah, in the first, even Justin Bieber had a song that came out last week. 2 million views in 24 hours.
That's amazing.
Adele did 40.
It's possible because she had done 750,000 views in the first hour, so that is possible.
Well, another thing to notice about Adele is that I was looking at her YouTube channel and like her videos, like it's so offensive. Like the way like every video has like 2 billion views, 1 billion views, the lowest is like 600 million views.
No, she's a star for real, and there's lots of demand for her, and I think
scarcity.
She's great at creating that scarcity by spacing out her releases. I think it's brilliant, right? And of course, the music is good, but I always say, and I stand by this, I think she is criminally overrated. I think she's a good singer, but we have seen and heard better, right? And it's really weird coming from people who are old enough to have lived through Whitney and Mariah in their primes. We've seen better singers. We've heard better songs, but people are eating it up. And she's gonna have the number one song next week when the album drops. She's gonna do crazy numbers when she's not eligible for this upcoming Grammys, but in 2023 she's probably gonna sweep again.
So here's my thing about Adele. I completely agree that in terms of vocal ability, she's not on the same level as Mariah or Whitney.
Right.
I wouldn't even go. I think maybe she's probably comparable with Beyonce.
I don't think Beyonce is a better singer.
Probably because Beyonce has more range. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's put it that way. But what I think makes Adele have impact is her branding.
Yes.
And I think one of the things that her team have done is they have, despite her not being conventionally beautiful, like not being, and that's no shade. Look, I'm not conventionally beautiful either. Hey, she is now. But she wasn't originally, right? She wasn't thin, skinny like everybody else. She wasn't all of those things. Mm-hmm. They were able to still package her in a way that we paid attention to her voice and paid attention to her vocal ability and her talent. Yeah. And that's like unheard of. And I think it was the relatability of that. The fact that you don't have to be beautiful. You don't have to be, or conventionally beautiful. You don't have to be all these things for you to still be a big star. I think that's one of the reasons why she was a breath of fresh air when she came out.
I guess that's part of it, right? But okay. I also think that she is, because she looked the way she did, was a good candidate to sell sad songs, right?
Okay. That makes sense.
I don't think a woman as beautiful as Beyonce is believable as a, scorned or, a brokenhearted girl, right?
Interesting.
So I think it's easier to believe, this girl is always heartbroken, and so it's easier for you to believe that some guy mistreated this girl,
and that's part of her relatability, right? The sad songs. Exactly, that's why people connect with her. But Celine Dion was that in her generation. But Celine Dion, even though I noticed that they dressed her to make her look older.
Yeah, she always seemed older.
But
she's really she's younger than Whitney by 5 years.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
I was watching a video of hers, no shade, but I watched a video of hers. I was like, oh, she must have been 40, 42 in this video.
Like
25.
She
was 28. I was like, they definitely dressed her, packaged her to look older.
My heart will go on. Right. She was 29 when she did that, right?
So I don't know. It's like a mix. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely, she was definitely in many ways the standard for adult contemporary in the last 30 years.
Right.
And even to an extent, they tried to do that with Mariah in her early years, but I think she broke out of that. But definitely there's a packaging of certain artists, and definitely they're doing that with Adele.
Overhyping as well.
Yeah, overhyping. Now, I will say that generally speaking, people have a propensity towards Blue-Eyed Soul, especially when it's British Blue-Eyed Soul.
What is Blue-Eyed Soul? What is Blue-Eyed?
Just white people that make R&B music, I think.
Oh, is that the term?
Yeah, that is the standard term.
Blue-Eyed Soul?
Yeah.
I haven't heard it.
Oh, really?
No.
Wow. Yeah, it's a whole thing. And so people would always use that term to describe, it's a term that dates back many, many decades.
Right.
So they would use it to, describe, I think even the Righteous Brothers and white singers from the 60s, Bobby Caldwell.
So, we're going to talk about Jesy in Little Mix, and it's related to that, right? That's pretty much what she's packaging.
That one. No, that's
all right, cool.
Yeah, we'll get to that one. That's a little different. But with Adele, I think there's so many things that work in her favor.
Right.
So I think being a white singer who makes black or blackish music, she really does sing traditional blues.
Right.
And so people like that, right? And so there's so many things about her, and of course, like you said, hyping or just anytime a white person is doing passable imitations of black art, people just fall over themselves, right? I'll give you a good example. Elvis Presley, when he started, would go to radio interviews, and his manager would make sure, first of all, they wouldn't play his songs because they thought he was black.
They thought he was black at first when he started out? Wow.
That style of music, even though to us we only know that as Elvis's music, but really that was...
He stole... rock and roll was black people's music. Country was black people's music before,
Much of popular American music
stemmed
from
from
the
the
black origin, right?
Yeah.
And so at the time, what he was doing was actually considered black, and so radio stations weren't playing his music. So his manager would take him to radio stations and make sure that he said what high school he went to, so that the listeners would oh, he has to be white because segregation. Black people go to that school.
Right.
So now you go from not being able to get played on the radio to being the greatest thing ever.
Right.
And so that's why anytime I try to tell people this is how we can measure the power of whiteness as a performer. That's a perfect example, and I think it applies to every single white artist.
I won't go that far. I'll say I wouldn't say that Taylor Swift is appropriating black music, right? I would not say that, but I would say
the point I'm saying is that there's always that advantage of being a white performer.
100%, and I agree with this, and it's also part of the reason. I want to quickly talk about how even Jesy from Little Mix is considered blackfishing, and other people like even Justin Bieber, who sort of came in, took over Chris Brown's spot when Chris Brown had just been Rihanna. He was canceled. Justin Bieber kind of swooped in, stole all his fans. We've seen it with so many people. We've seen it with Justin Bieber. We've seen it with, Scooter Braun, Justin Bieber's manager, actually said that he had this in his dream list of people that he wanted to manage.
So I basically sat down, I looked for a gap in the marketplace, and I chose 3 different types of acts. One was what Asher was, which was someone who could really, really rap, but spoke to the white boy that Asher was, that loved hip hop, but didn't have anybody like them in hip hop, wearing flip flops. The other was this idea of the young Michael Jackson, big Michael Jackson fan. So when Michael was singing these angelic songs, you actually believed in love before you became an adult and got jaded because you had the angelic voice of a child speaking about love from the time you remembered it. And that's the whole, Justin filled.
And that's how he got Justin Bieber and
Ariana
Grande. So I thought, you know what? I think Ariana Grande is equally vocally talented as Mariah Carey. I think so. But hey, anyone can say whatever they want to say. But comparing Justin Bieber, who is my favorite artist, comparing Justin Bieber to Michael Jackson is offensive, right? But look at how he's overhyped. He's huge because of the branding and the packaging of a Justin Bieber.
I'm just going to flag a few things. First of all, I don't think Ariana has the same range, and also her voice is not as powerful, right? I think she's a fantastic singer. But
can we at least acknowledge that Mariah has lost her capabilities?
Yeah, but she's a 50-year-old woman. Of course she has.
Not everybody in their 50s have.
Most. There are few are I tell people, think of these vocalists, especially the ones at that level, the way you think of an athlete. Right. You would never expect an athlete to perform the same way 30 years after the fact.
Also, music, I did not know that people lose their capabilities in singing.
Oh yeah.
With age?
Yeah, with age, and I think women suffer more because they tend to like their voices get deeper.
So I'm thinking about Mariah probably when I was probably listening to her like in the early 2000s. That's what I'm thinking about. Yeah. But if you're talking about Mariah in the 90s, I have no idea if they're comparable.
And the funny thing is that even by the 2000s, she had already lost some of her power,
which is what I'm assuming. So that's that's what I'm comparing.
Oh yeah, if you go to like the early performances, like
okay, then not even fair enough. I don't know.
There's a reason why they used to compare her to Whitney's because she was almost as good.
Right.
Yeah,
I like that you said that though. I like that you said that. Even though like Mariah, I still prefer Mariah to Whitney. But I like that you acknowledge that Whitney is on a different.
Yeah, Whitney's the best.
But like, hey, this is gonna be spark off a whole like debate. Leave a comment down below. Who's better? Who's better? No. Ariana Grande or Mariah? Who's better? Whitney or?
I don't even think it's a real debate. Like anyone who's.
I don't know. I don't know. Mariah's voice is so beautiful, but
I'm saying her prime like way better than Ariana. I think with Whitney,
here's my thing with the reason why I can't really agree with that is because I think it's not in trend to have the best sound Mariah style singing. It's not in trend anymore. So Mariah, a lot of Ariana Grande's music is suppressing her actual vocal talent because like nobody wants to hear those 90s like vocals the way like as much as like I love it, but nobody really wants to hear that in pop music anymore. So Ariana
unless you're Adele, right?
No, Adele cannot. Come on, Adele cannot sing like that.
I'm not saying she can't sing. I'm saying the style of songs.
Yeah,
in a way.
Okay. Because even Adele suppresses. Do you like think about like all the harmonizing and the vocal capabilities that we used to hear in the 90s and the early 2000s? We don't hear that now, and it's not because people are less talented. It's just that trends, it's not trendy.
Just the taste of the public is always changing,
right?
And so
I think what it is that it's almost like a Mozart or any classical painter, right? We've seen it before, we've heard it before, we know it's the most talented version. Now we just want something else, and that's what created spaces for Rihanna's and the other people that don't necessarily. Kanye is a singer now. Like there's space because people don't require that vocal capability because we're almost like used to it. It's old, and I think it'll come back in trend, but I don't think it's there yet.
Yeah, one day it's like, and that like I always say, like I think success in popular music is not an exact science. Like there are always so many other factors that play.
Luck.
A bit of luck. What else is happening in the industry? Who else is there?
Right.
And sometimes those big vocals they work so well is because there's usually no one else doing something like that at the time.
Right.
So maybe we'll see something like that. I think Adele is today's version of the big vocalist, and she does. I'm like I said, I've already told you that I don't think she is the greatest. Like,
not to come for Adele, but if that is what is our Whitney, damn.
I guess the closest thing, yes.
Damn.
Closest thing. I mean, and as far
what
as
about Jennifer Hudson? Why? Like that's my point. Like people don't want to acknowledge the actual people that can actually have that vocal capability.
Yeah, and this
nobody wants that.
Yeah, this would take us back to where we started because I feel like we've definitely taken like a million segues. Is that I think, like I said, people prefer to hear that kind of voice from people that they don't expect it from. So of course there are tons of black people who can sing that way. Jennifer Hudson, Jasmine Sullivan. I mean, even like I'm sure there are other Fantasia, so many, right? And at this point, these are not new artists as well. So I mean, not that Adele is new, but there's so many who can. So it's not as impressive. But now when a white person who comes around and can
does
sing,
half as much,
half as much, it's way more impressive, I think. And I'm gonna say, and when I say this, I'm gonna say not just impressive for like white people. I think even black people are more impressed. Because I think in many ways, like, because we put all the blame on white people, but I think also black people.
First of all, I think
hype Adele as well.
I think that white people can be equally vocally talented as black people, 100%.
Outside of Celine, I can't think of anyone who sings at that.
I think there are probably a million Celine Dion. Look at Ariana. No, sorry, what's her name? Christina Aguilera. But come on, don't do that. Don't do that. But okay, forget about it. Whatever. Let's just go back, right? I think there's so many versions of capable white people, and I'll just go back to what I said. I just don't think it's in trend, and I think, like we said, okay, we were talking about this earlier. I just think that part of it is luck. Having the talent and having the full packaging to be ready for show business. Right. And Adele had that. Yeah. And so they signed her, but there are other people on the streets that are singing. I mean, 10 times better, no matter what race they are.
Listen, at the end of the day, Britney Spears had a big career. So did Ciara. You know, there's so many people who.
Ciara can dance though.
Right. So can Britney, right? Technically. Free Britney. But no, really. No. I think that there's so many things at play. Timing, when did you come, who was there? Like,
right.
You know, you can never really say. But back to Adele, though, I think Easy on Me is a good song.
Great song.
All my timeline is right now, like, just I was gonna say everyone's just in their pants. Can I say that? But really,
you can say whatever you want.
I mean, people are really going crazy over the song.
Yeah, overhyped. Yeah. This video is brought to you by Brand Video Pros Members Lab, an online course that helps brands and influencers scale their influence and sales.
Let's talk about Nicki Minaj, who has really been just doing the utmost.
This is a whole conversation. This is going to take some time.
Right,
it's going to take some time. But okay, keep going. Keep going.
So
what you got to say?
So first of all, she has this new song with Jesy Nelson from Little Mix.
Yes.
And so it's called Boys, and it samples like, you know, Bad Boy Flat by Diddy. And people have been like calling Jesy out for blackfishing, as they say. So she's like doing this really deep tan and putting her hair in like curls, something like.
Which, in her defense, she's always done that.
Yeah, but I mean, I think I guess the calling out has grown louder, right? And so it's you know, people are saying that, you know, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? It's weird, and she kind of looks racially ambiguous, and so, you know, it's people think it's weird, and rightly so. Now, there were leaked screenshots between this, I believe, UK blogger and Jessy's ex-bandmate Leanne Pinnock, who was the black girl in Little Mix. And the girl Leanne is supposedly like telling this blogger to call her out for her, you know, blackfishing and things of that nature.
Which this is not confirmed though.
Not confirmed. Now, apparently those screenshots are fake, according to people on the TBI, Twitter Bureau of Investigation.
But Leanne did like a number of Instagram posts that were coming for Jesy.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, she did.
So this is fact.
You can see your likes on Instagram.
Okay. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
You know, she did like quite a few posts that were like coming for.
Fair enough.
If I find them, I'm gonna put them in.
Fair enough. But whatever the case, let's just say even the screenshots were real, right? I'm not sure why Nicki Minaj has to wade into Little Mix beef that deeply. But anyways, she gets on Instagram Live and then gets on with Jesy, and it's really just kind of like, you know, I mean, she doesn't call Leanne by name, but she's saying a lot of like, you know, stuff like,
she's coming for her,
calling her a clown, basically, but you know.
So my issue with Nicki Minaj is like, just sit down and keep quiet. Like, I wanted to defend her when she did that whole COVID, when she was talking about the vaccine stuff. I wanted to take her side, but she keeps like every week she does something like stupid. And for me, what I didn't like about her speaking out against Little Mix is that she used her clout and her fame to sort of like suppress the other members of Little Mix. But my issue with it is when Jesy said she was leaving Little Mix, everybody supported her. Everybody on Little Mix supported her. Everybody supported her. But now she's doing a press tour and she can't keep their name out of her mouth. Now every second she's talking. Nobody was talking about this story. No one cares about like.
Okay. So you think it's a deliberate attempt to like use
market herself to push herself out? She just didn't know it would backfire and people would call her out for blackfishing.
Right.
But she went on this press tour talking about Little Mix. Nobody they didn't have any issue with her leaving. Everybody supported her.
Okay.
And one thing that really just puts a bad taste in my mouth with Jesy, like a little bit, like I feel like she's a little bit of a scammer. And my reason is, if you watch their press tour for their last album, and they were specifically asked, you guys have been together for however many years, 8, 9 years, however long it was. And you guys, how do you guys stay together? How do you guys do this? How do you guys do that? Jesy especially, they kept going on about how they're a unit, they're best friends, they're a team, they do this, whatever. Really, like, you didn't have to go the extra mile to overpackage yourself. If you know that you had depression then, I just feel like you didn't need to continue, not depression
she
though.
Oversold.
Yeah, you don't need to oversell it. You know that this is not genuine. You know that like you feel, you know, insecure about yourself. Just keep quiet when they're asking the question. Mm-hmm. She oversold it. We believed the lies. And she comes and says she's going to leave the group. Fair enough. Good reasons for leaving the group. but keep your name out their mouth. Keep their name out your
I
mouth.
thought they all went solo actually.
No,
So
they're still making music.
Okay.
That's why nobody, like, that's the thing. They've been making music. Nobody has really paid attention to it. Jesy doing this press tour talking about Little Mix is what's making people talk about her.
Okay.
That's how she's getting relevance for her music.
Right.
But the song is trash. But that's another conversation.
Actually, it's funny. NPR has a scathing, critique of the song and, really just kind of called her out, very, very, pointedly. But anyways, song aside, Nicki Minaj is calling Leanne a clown and just doing all this weird shit. And now the funny part of this is that I don't think she really cares. I think she's just trying to take headlines.
Nicki, right?
Yeah, just trying to take all the headlines so that people are not talking about her harassment suit. So, Jennifer Huff, the alleged victim of Nicki's husband, Kenneth Petty, did a big interview on The Real a few weeks ago where she's going into detail about the rape, the alleged rape. And also goes into detail about the harassment that's followed, after that. After Nicki became involved with this man, apparently has been sending her syndicates to offer her money to be quiet, spoke to the woman, invited her to Los Angeles, just basically trying to get her to drop her, to recount her story just so he could be taken off basically sex offender lists. So, it's really bad stuff. Apparently one of the people offered to put $20,000 in her lap, and then when she declined, his defense later said, you should have taken the money, we're not going to put that on your head. So basically threatening the woman. So I think, I could be wrong, I think that all of this is just a grand scheme to get people to not talk about that interview and talk about all the legal procedures. Because every time she does something new, there's always a new facts that comes out about the case. So,
and I think you're right, because I completely forgot about that.
There you have it.
Completely
there you have it.
Forgot about that. And that's not something that you forget, right?
But if a big star is constantly going live on Instagram, it's exciting.
She's going live every day. She did another live.
When did she do this? So,
right. Yeah. Normally Nicki Minaj and Kanye does this too. They only become controversial when they're trying to sell records. That's when you see they come out and they do their press tour and they say all these crazy things. Both Nicki Minaj and Kanye do that. Nicki copied it from Kanye, I think.
Oh, you think so?
But it makes sense because Nicki's not coming out with anything. Yeah. Why is she talking so much? She's just trying to distract us.
And getting involved. She doesn't give a fuck about Little Mix. I barely even know who these people are.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's she doesn't care about Little Mix.
Right.
I promise you. All right, let's change gears and talk about Tiwa Savage. Who didn't...
Why didn't we talk about this first? This is, this is Nigeria. We got to represent. We got to represent.
That's what I said, right?
Right.
But I was going to say, it's a big story, but the reason why I didn't bring it first is because I'm actually kind of skeptical about the whole thing. But anyway, she did an interview with Angie Martinez, which is, the legendary radio DJ. And, very out of unsolicited kind of information came out where she's offering that someone texted her team about having a tape and sent the tape to her management and say that we're going to, release the tape if she doesn't, pay a certain amount of money.
Right.
And it said she was not going to pay because she wanted to be blackmailed and which is smart, right?
Yeah.
But the whole thing to me is I don't know,
why hasn't it been released?
I guess that part, but also I just can't see. It doesn't seem plausible that any artist who has that sort of thing happening would just offer it like that. It just, to me, the whole thing seemed.
I think it does, because if you want to get ahead
and
of
by
it.
the way, I'm not the only one who thinks this. A lot of people online.
Which is fine, but I think you would want to get ahead of this.
Okay.
If somebody blackmailed, you don't know, maybe they blackmailed her the day before, a week before.
Okay.
That they're any second they could release it. She just wants to let us know, hey, I might have a sex tape and whatever. Okay.
But right? If it really is true, then I guess she's doing a good job of
not letting herself be blackmailed,
blunting the impact of the sex tape.
Yeah.
If it does exist.
And if anything, because she's taken sort of this accountability for it, it kind of gives her clout when it does release. If we do see it,
right. And even it's the whole thing. If it happened that way and there is a sex tape, it sounds like it sounds like an inside job. Why did you get
100%?
Yeah.
But one thing I think it might maybe help her career in America, but I think in Nigeria, it could be problematic.
Oh, you think
her
so?
releasing a sex tape with a musician.
Okay.
There's only one person. There's only
okay.
one person that I've that had a sex tape back in the day. I'm not even going to mention who it is.
Okay. I think I know who you're talking about.
But she's an influencer now.
I know what you're talking about.
Right. Had a sex tape back in the day, and it hasn't impacted it. I guess people have forgotten about the sex tape.
Eventually always move on.
Yeah, but in Nigeria, like, it's like, and she's like the biggest female star in Nigeria, Tiwa Savage. For her to have a sex tape, the way that women are already degraded and disrespected, it will really, like, she'll lose cool points, but not for a long time. I think, like, until there's some reason to celebrate her, then people will celebrate her.
In 2021, a sex tape is just not devastating the way it used to be.
In America, in developed parts of the world, Nigeria is not. We haven't had anyone that has had a sex tape. Like that is in that limelight. We're just developing our entertainment industry. So like her having a sex tape. I don't think it'll ruin her, but I don't think it's gonna be good for her at all.
I mean, so many people have, like, even outside of sex tapes, a lot of people have, like, nude pictures on the internet. Like, we forget that Rihanna had a nude leak.
You're talking about American people. Like, at the end of the day, when it comes to America, that's a completely different ballgame. When it comes to Nigeria the mindset of people in Nigeria.
But I guess the reason why I keep bringing it up is that she's becoming a global star.
So that's one thing that could help her. It could help her if she uses that sex tape, like Paris Hilton did and Kim Kardashian did, to blow in America.
It did wonders for Kim Kardashian.
Kim Kardashian saw the formula from Paris. She replicated it, because if you watch that sex tape, that thing was, she acted in that thing.
Absolutely.
It's 2005 now, and this, come on, it was a performance. But I think it would help Tiwa Savage internationally, which ultimately will help her in Nigeria. But from the Nigerian perspective, in Nigeria, her coming out with a sex tape, that's a big no. That's a big no. No judgment. Like, look, live your life, do whatever you want. But the Nigerian community is just not going to accept that from her.
Fair point. Fair point. No arguments for me.
Yeah. So, I guess that's all we have today.
That's all we have.
So, thanks for watching, guys. Please don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, all of the above, and see you next time. My name is Kenim. Peace and
goodbye. Was I supposed to say my name?
Peace. Yes. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. My name is Kenim.
And this is Ronse.
A peace.